Wait, wrong one. Yeah.
What's that?
That's music.
That should be the intro.
That's music. So, this is episode 172 of the Weight Room Podcast. Welcome back. After 171 episodes, you're back on the show.
Woohoo! Made it back.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
100.
Where were we 171 episodes ago?
I don't want to, but the last apartment.
Yeah.
The last one.
Wow. First day in our last apartment.
Wait a minute. It's been almost 2 years.
2 years.
Wow. This podcast is almost 2 years old. It'll be 2 years old in, I think, May.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Just had to throw that out there.
Yeah. So it took 2 years to get you back on here.
Sorry.
In that time frame, though, you went from nursing student to nursing graduate to nursing test taker to nurse. Registered nurse.
Registered nurse here.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
RN. BPN or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
BSN.
BSN.
BSN, yeah. So, how's it feel to officially be almost a year into nursing?
I am a year into nursing.
How's it feel?
Crazy. Never would have thought.
Really? Never?
I mean, I don't know. It's been rough, honestly. But we're here.
Yeah.
We're still trucking on.
Do you think that's a common thing for nursing?
For what?
To feel like you get into it or people get into it and it's like, wow, this is rough.
Yeah, I feel like it is. Especially nowadays. Doesn't seem like it used to be like this, but I feel like I've aged a lot in the last year. Truthfully.
Real world, though,
Mm-hmm.
Experience gains wisdom.
Yes.
Gain insight on what actually happens.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
a lot of stuff you didn't learn from in the book.
Oh, no. The books teach like 1%. I've learned like 5% so far.
So what 1% do you think that has actually helped you that you've learned in school?
I think school helped me be able to reach out and ask questions about the things I don't know. I don't know why, but that's just what I think.
Oh, it's a good skill.
Uh-huh. I wouldn't be able to get through one shift without it, that's for sure.
You gotta be able to, not just guess, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of a scary thing to do.
You've got patients' lives in your hands.
Yeah. Did that, hit you when you first started?
You thought about it in nursing school, but it doesn't really hit you until your last night of orientation and you're like, oh, next time I do this, it's just me. So, yeah. After my orientation, I don't remember how many days I had off or if I had any off, but after that, it was all me. And if I didn't know, I had to ask somebody else. Still ask somebody else every day.
It seems like people are always asking, no matter what level experience they have.
Yeah.
Because there's always new situations.
Yeah. And you'll get a patient that has the same diagnosis as somebody else, but they're not the same. They might have other things going on, or a new medication came out. Something with COVID is not every kid got a new medication that came out. And so you had to ask a bunch of questions about what that med was doing, what it was for.
Yeah, new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a lot? Like, is that common though to have new stuff on the market?
I'm sure. Yeah.
You always see stuff on TV. They have some of the catchiest commercials.
Yeah.
Like, man, what's that one?
Cymbalta can help.
Yeah, Cymbalta, Zybrands or Vibrands or whatever. Not
That's
sure.
Funny. I've never used either of those.
You never know what they're actually for, but you know that they have like tons of side effects, and that the side effects are usually like, like leakage or, you know, makes you think like, dang, this person, you know, they're not experiencing leakage right now, but they're, you know, maybe they have diabetes or, you know, cirrhosis. Is that, what's the one with the skin? Not cirrhosis.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Like the
plaques and stuff.
Yeah, like skin, hypodermal. I don't know.
I know what you're talking about.
But it's like, you know, one day they had this skin thing. Next day to take this pill. They don't have skin thing anymore, but now they have leakage. So it's like a whole new issue. Then they take a pill for that, and it gives them their skin thing back.
Psoriasis.
Yeah, psoriasis.
Starts with a P.
It's tricky. It's like pterodactyl.
Pterodactyl, yes. It's Psoriasis, I believe.
Psoriasis. Use it in a sentence.
That girl has psoriasis on her leg. No, I'm just kidding.
Possible, I guess.
Yep. It's a skin plaque that's elevated, solid, superficial, typically more than 1 centimeter in diameter.
So how come in hospitals there's medications that go through an IV and not just pills?
So because it can get to the blood faster, obviously, it's going through the blood. Like sometimes we'll have kids that will go to the primary care doctor and have like a prescription for an antibiotic, and they'll go home and the kid refuses to take the antibiotic. And they'll come back in even sicker than they were. Yeah. And then we give them IV antibiotics, and they don't like that.
They have no choice almost.
Mm-hmm. Unless they pull their IV out. They do choose to do that a lot.
How many times do you have to like tie a kid down though because of that? Is that legal?
Tie them down? No.
Like tie their hands?
No, we can't do that.
Why not?
Because that's a restraint. And you have to have a physician's order for a restraint. So kids with IVs, you either hope they don't see it, hope they don't feel it when you... I'm a night shift nurse, so a lot of the times kids are sleeping when I start their antibiotics. But a lot of kids do pull their IVs out. A lot of kids undo their IV tubing. That's fun. But you just... There's some that you really can't just let them have their hands. So you can get like a medical restraint. And so the doctor has to come up and say, hey, this is why we need it. We've tried all these things of before restraint methods. So distraction or like we can cover it up sometimes with like extra gauze and tape. But sometimes we'll have to unfortunately go to that next level of... And restraints usually on kids are like soft elbow restraints. So we'll just put something on their arms that keeps their arm straight. So they can't reach down to their foot or their hand and get it out.
What about those Chinese handcuffs?
Nope. That would be easy, but no, we're not allowed to use those.
So what's the hardest part about working with kids? Because it's something that you want to do, but you know, I'm sure there's challenges.
Sometimes not understanding what they need.
It's kind of like a dog. You just, you know, they start barking or yelping, and it's like you try so many different things. You give them a treat, you give them food, you fill up their water bowl, you pat them on the tummy. Sometimes they're still like running around in circles.
Yeah. They do.
Because the same things happens with kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Kids are fun, though.
So how do you figure it out? Like, is there a step-by-step system?
There's not. Usually parents know what certain signs are from their kids. But sometimes parents can't be there. So you got to figure out what may be going wrong and what might be hurting them or bothering them or something like that. So just kind of look at them, and kids point a lot. So if something's hurting, if their ear hurts, they'll tug at their ear. Things like that. But no, there's no system, I don't think. If there is, I need to learn it.
The kid system. You could start it.
Honestly. But every kid's different.
Yeah.
It's hard.
So, what have you learned the most from, you've had different experiences with different companies, different roles. What do you think you've learned from that?
From going from one company to another? Yeah,
just seeing how they, like, two different companies work.
Not having a different experience, like at the first facility I worked at, I probably did think, wow, this is terrible, or wow, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Only having that one point of view. And that's what's good about being able to go to a new place, is you can go see what else is out there. Even if it may not be better or whatever. Yeah. You can still go experience new things. I think that's why travel nursing is so interesting, is because you can go to a place across the country and see how they're doing stuff. But with it's interesting because what I was doing at the first facility is way different than what I'm doing now, in a way. The first facility, I was working with moms and their brand new babies right after they had them. I still get brand new babies, but it's just way different, the care that we do.
Yeah.
The brand new babies weren't sick.
Yeah.
And now the kids are sick. So.
Yeah, it's like the first place you worked at, it was more like happy, and for the most part, it was like a good feeling.
Mm-hmm.
From the patients weren't there other than because of a good thing, typically.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good thing about mother baby. The moms were there and they were happy, and the dads were there and they were happy, or whoever was there. There weren't many family members, unfortunately, because of COVID, but it was pretty interesting. I got to see my first sibling come up to the patient's room. So 2022, and I started in March of last year, so it was interesting to see the dynamic. I think it would have been really cool, though, to see a brand new baby with like a big sister, or big brother. I think that would have been really sweet, but
yeah,
that's okay.
I remember going and doing that whole experience. Not much of it with my youngest sister, but more with my nieces.
Yeah.
And it's like they try to hold them, and it's like, well, this thing's still pretty soft,
Yeah, their bones aren't formed yet.
Kind of makes me nervous, when kids want to hold kids.
I think it's cute.
It's like both of them are going to end up hurt.
Oh my gosh. I don't know about all that.
Sketchy.
No. I like kids, though, so
yeah,
I think it's precious.
What do you think the worst part about working with kids, though? They're like the one part you didn't, think about that is not considered like a pro.
You always have 2 patients, at least, sometimes 3. And I don't mean that by room 17, 18, 19. I mean room 17 has toddler, mom, and dad.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to make all 3 of them happy most of the time. Not most of the time, but a majority of the time.
Yeah. So you have to really, you have like 9 patients or 12.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't mean that in a negative way at all. I know the parents want what they think is best for the kiddos, but
it's just a challenge.
It's a challenge, definitely. There's some of them amazing and great and do everything and are thankful, but it's those few that make it interesting.
How do you think, having an actual experience with a person and a kid, like scary experience or potentially dangerous experience, how has that kind of like affected you in ways that you didn't think it would?
I mean, I thought I would get like emotional about some things, but there's some things I didn't really think that I would, I guess, hold on to as much as I do. Like, say I had a patient previously that I took care of, sent them home, thought they were great, and then they come back worse than they were before. And there was a period of time between it, but in their stay, they just got worse and worse and worse. And that just, I don't know, that hit me.
Do you think it's from a perspective of like the sadness for the kid, or almost like feeling like, why can't we help this person?
Definitely both. Kids rely a lot on other people.
So you're thinking like they rely on nurses
and doctors. And I mean, it's not like just because I take care of a patient 3 days in a row and someone else takes care of them I take care of them 3 nights in a row and someone takes care of them 3 days in a row. It doesn't mean that we're the only 2 people taking care of them. There's like a whole care team that may be behind closed doors, or the doctors and everything. So it's not completely like our fault that something may be going wrong. There could be something that was missed by somebody else, or there's just truly no answer yet. We're working on it, but it's hard to, in the moment, just see that that's behind everything. It's not just like, oh my gosh, I failed tonight. There's more that can be done.
So what do you think, you're a year in, what do you think has been the biggest, how do you say in your language,
English
eye-opener, for nursing as a whole, not just necessarily like your job or your floor, your hospital, but like nursing as a whole? What has been the biggest eye-opener with just, a year of experience, a little over a year?
I never thought I would be remembered by a family. Truthfully. I don't know why. That's probably a not good thought.
I think it's part of a nurse, though, too, is to not, a good nurse, a good doctor, a good police officer, like someone in service, like if you're doing it for the recognition or thinking that you're going to get recognition, it's going to be a sad career, because most times you're not.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go into it without the thought of that, like it's probably a better experience when you do get that recognition.
Yeah. It was. And it was directly from a parent, and it was really sweet. I'd taken care of a kiddo, and the parents remembered apparently who I was. I took care of them multiple days. And they came back, and I knew the name when I was in charge. And so I kind of make the assignment as the kids come up on which nurse is going to get which patient, which room they're going to go to. And I was actually not supposed to get a patient for 2 or 3 more patients. And I saw this person's name, and I was like, I have to have them. I have to take this kid. And they're like, okay. And so they roll up, and someone else was helping me. I didn't see him come up. I was in another room. And I go to the doorway, and the mom's just standing there. And she said, we were just talking about you in the ER. And I was like, oh my gosh, were you really? I said, I hope it was good. And she started crying. And I was like, you're so sweet. But I never thought that would happen. It's happened a few times. But that one really, it wasn't automatic for some other experiences. But it was really sweet. Love them. You get to love some people. It's funny. They don't know that you love them, but you do.
Yeah. You've seen the movie Caring, something Caring, where they go around to the Grand Canyon? Fundamental of Caring?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Uh-huh.
Could you do that?
No.
You know? Straight up, no.
I could go to the Grand Canyon, but I don't think I could do all that.
Take care of a kid like that?
No, it's not that I couldn't take care of a kid like that. I just get, I'm sure any person would feel this way sometimes, but that would be a very dedicated care.
Yeah.
And I like having the same patient for a few nights in a row, but when I have a week off and I go back, nobody's there.
It's like
and I get this fresh start, fresh diagnosis, fresh
new experiences.
people. Yeah, new experiences.
New situations. Yeah.
And you could have had somebody that was not very nice to you.
Yeah.
And now they're out in the world somewhere.
Yeah.
And you don't have to see them.
That's a good thing about a movie, you know. It's like they can just write the script how they want it.
Yep. 3 nights in a row and then move on.
So, you talked about management and you were potentially in that management more like leader role.
Uh-huh.
How has that been?
It's been interesting. I'll say that. Unfortunately, where I'm at, there isn't a ton of management on night shift. There's 2 other nurses that started with me or a little after me, and we're all charge nurses now. We're running the show, and the only thing that really, not the only thing, but something that really stinks about that is we're never scheduled on the same days. So it's literally you and somebody random. And that's been very hard.
Yeah.
But I like having that extra responsibility in a way. It kind of puts a little pressure on me, and I work under pressure a little well.
That's good.
So having to like answer questions, and if I don't know the answer, go find the answer to a question or lead them in the right way. I really like that aspect of it.
Being a younger nurse, you know, it's like, well, do you ever question, like, do I know enough? Do I have enough of the answers to actually...
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The first few times, you know, I was a little nervous, and I didn't actually want to do it. I told someone that made the decision on who is charge and who's not. I told them, I was like, I don't think I want to be a charge nurse. Sorry. Gotta go. And she'd ask why, and I would tell her that I don't feel like I know enough to be able to do it. I don't feel like I've experienced enough or have the right answers or anything like that sometimes. But I am somebody that questions their ability a lot. If I know the answer to something, I'll still ask about it. Even if I know the solid answer, I'll still sometimes ask.
I think everybody goes through where it's like, you know more than you think you know, and nobody knows as much as the person that below them thinks they know.
Mm-hmm. I really like being asked questions that I don't know the answer to and finding them out, because I feel like if I wasn't in that role, I wouldn't be asked those questions, and then I wouldn't find out those answers. So I feel like I'm learning a lot too, being able to have people express those questions to me and then being able to go and find the answer together. So I learn a lot too. It's pretty cool.
How does a tough night affect you in a positive way? You know, obviously it'll affect you in a negative way, but how does a tough night affect you in a positive way? Like how does that make you better? How does that build you up at the end of the day? Maybe not in the moment, but like after a few days.
Tough nights, I feel like, never get better. Like, I mean, you're obviously not going to experience the exact same thing every day, but you can say at the end of the day or the next day after you've slept it off, that you've experienced it and what you've learned from it and how you would address that situation the next time. Looking back, and seeing what could have been better, what could have been worse, how you could have adjusted. There's a lot of that in nursing, though. It's, if I didn't do this and did this, what would the outcome be? After you've made a decision, or after you dealt with a patient that wasn't doing good, you can go back and say, hey, how did I do with this? What could I have done different? And learn from there.
It's kind of like war in a way, you know? It's like you have the war stories afterwards that in the moment, obviously, it's hard and bad things could potentially happen and they suck afterwards. But especially after more time, you know, a week, a month, a year, 10 years, you look back on them and they're like these stories, the war stories. It's like the worst things are sometimes the things that not we remember the best, like the fondest memories, but they're the ones that like create that fondness in a way. You know, the camaraderie, we've been through this together. Like as as nurses. Mm-hmm. We've all kind of had these shared experiences of, losing somebody or being close to or having somebody with this type of, experience. It's like you can.
Yeah. You're able to talk about it and, yeah, I get what you're saying. We did that a lot, honestly.
It's like the same way, I couldn't really have a conversation about an experience that you've had specifically, the same way you could have it with another nurse.
Yeah.
Same's true with like war.
Yeah.
Like
nursing is war.
I'm just war.
With 11-month-olds, it is.
Combat.
It is combat. Whew. I'm not going to lie. Here recently, those 11-month-olds, I don't know what it is, but they've been beating me up. I would have never thought I'd ever say that.
Hormones in the milk.
Something. They are strong nowadays.
Popping them out. Mm-hmm. Ready for UFC.
Ready for combat.
But let's wrap this sucker up. It's been 43 minutes. Mostly the beginning of that was me tearing out my eardrums. But how would you say, moving forward, how would you say you hope to see the field of nursing go? Like in what direction and what improvements or something would you like to see the nursing field go?
I hope there's tons of improvements. At least from what I've experienced so far. There's tons of education that can be taught and learned. There's tons of resources that can be utilized. There's just so many opportunities to improve. You're never, ever the top. And I think if we keep working to get to the top, we'll improve overall.
Thanks for tuning into the Weight Room. It's been great. Great topic, great talk, great chat. Make sure you subscribe wherever listening and go forth. And make sure you don't have to go see a nurse this week.
Please.
Alrighty. See y'all next time.